Hi, I'm Jim Raffle. Welcome to this episode of the Jim and Shelby Show, All Things Print Podcast. I'm here as always with
Shelby Music, and we are at Printing United Alliance Expo in Atlanta, Georgia.
And we are sitting in the Members Lounge, which is part of the Printing United Alliance booth.
Yeah, they have some lovely refreshments. I had some popcorn earlier. You can get some soda. There's water, tea, coffee.
Comfortable couches.
Yes.
Yep. And then out in the main part of the booth, there is a section for iLearning Plus, which is Printing United Alliance's online learning platform.
Yep, and we've been part of 3 different sessions now.
We have, yep, 2
One
within.
of them just launched.
It did. That's the
Wide Format Essentials just launched.
Right, and then the other 2 are in the Color Management Professional certification area.
Yes, one for fundamentals and one also for wide format.
Yep. And we will hopefully talk with our friend Ray Weiss, who helped run that.
Yes.
And we'll get him in an interview. And hopefully we'll have other interviews for you as well throughout the 2 days we're going to be here.
Yep, we've had a couple meetings already. We've just got here, so we haven't had time.
Well, I know there's a party.
Yeah, we're going to a party tonight, and it's funny. I was talking to someone in this booth earlier, and they said, "Shelby, you're not looking very colorful. You usually have, a lot of color going on." I said, "Wait until tonight."
Yeah,
I have a whole outfit planned for the opening party tonight, and there will be color.
I haven't seen the whole outfit, but I've been given previews of parts of it, and yeah, you won't be able to miss Shelby.
If you can't find me, you have problems.
All right, well, come along with us at Printing United Alliance Expo 2023. We will try and show you as much of the show as we can over the next 2 days. All right, I am here with Ray Weiss of Printing United Alliance, and we're going to talk about iLearning Plus. Tell us about it.
Well, so it's an online learning platform with industry-specific training and certifications. A few products as well, but mostly courses and certifications. That's it in a nutshell.
That's it in a nutshell. And so you mentioned certification, which I know that Shelby and I have been part of.
Yeah.
So what, you can basically scroll.
Yeah.
And I know there's a certification area, right?
Let's click this one.
Okay.
And
look at this.
You helped with the wide format.
All right, so this is one that I created with Ray's help.
Yeah.
And so basically people can take the Essentials course first, right?
They would take Color Management Professional Fundamentals first. That gives them their base foundation. Then they would take the wide format certification.
Okay.
So they would earn 2 badges at the end of that.
And how long do they typically spend online with these courses? You know,
hour,
2, 3.
For the course that you just created, it's less than 2 hours.
Okay.
Fundamentals is probably 3 hours.
Okay.
But they're certification courses. They do have a test. So you're kind of taking a little more time. Yeah, it is a test.
And how long is the certification good for?
It's good for 2 years.
And then do you have to retake the whole course?
No, we are working on that because, we've refreshed all of our certifications. So we need to refresh the recertifications.
Okay. Okay, great.
We have time.
What other kind of topics? I know if we go back to home, right? It shows a bunch of these topics, right?
Yeah, well, if you look at, this is one you might be familiar with.
Wide format essentials.
I know I'm cheating here.
Shelby and I just created this one.
So yeah, we just did screen printing basics for apparel, sublimation printing essentials, and wide format printing essentials. Our goal is to get courses that cover the entire all the different industry segments, right? Packaging, garment, wide format, commercial offset. So yeah, we're trying to cover all of it.
That's great. And it's been taken off pretty well from what you told me.
Yeah, we launched last August. So now this is really our first full year. And in that year, we've dropped an additional 18. We started with 11 courses. We've now added an additional 18 courses in total.
Great. All right. Thank you, Ray. Always good to see you.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
We are here with Steve Weiss of PDS Equipment
How
in
you guys
Atlanta.
doing?
You have something exciting to show us.
I do. I'm
Tell
excited,
me.
guys. We've now been working on this for about 3 or 4 months. We're doing the most impressive lenticular possible on a Mamaki UV flatbed. We're running this at 18 by 1800, but we're going to show you some lenticular that's better than anything you've ever seen. It's very easy with our machines if they're dialed in properly. Just going to walk you through a couple samples. I'll let you do the moving. Look at that. This has always been a very difficult process. We've got it ironed down to where we can produce this product in less than 8 minutes print time. with the proper software, the proper training.
I hope the camera is doing this justice
It will.
because it's impressive when you're
It-
standing in front of
The
it.
flip, it does good on the camera, just the 3D doesn't show as good.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
So we're taking the files, of course, interlacing them. We're splitting them up in little bitty slivers, and then this is a lenticular lens. It's rounded. So if you can just imagine that lens with a round spot, we're printing certain images on different sides of the round lens. It's allowing this effect. We can do animation lenticular, 3D lenticular, and flip lenticular, all on the Mamaki UJF 7151. We provide the training. We offer the lenses. So if you got a serious about lenticular, follow us. And we're going to have a UV lenticular summit here coming up shortly, where we're going to have the best lenticular minds on the planet all assembled in one place to see how far we can push this new technology.
Very cool. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Take care.
All right, we are here with Marco Ruz from Barbary. Well, you're not actually Barbary, but you're representing Barbary. And Color Base. Who Shelby actually writes for, so you should check out their blog. She about once a month puts a great article out there. And we really wanted to talk about what's new with Barbary, what's new with Color Base, but I really want to talk a little bit about my favorite instrument, the LFP-QB. So take it away.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so we're running the. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. So what we're showing here at the show is the LFP-QB Textile Edition with DOC. This is like the Rolls Royce of the Barbaries, which is a Rolls Royce by itself already, of course. But this is the most complete one. So it's running in a demo mode here, so it's continuously automatically measuring using the camera feature. Yeah. So what you see here is that we are measuring a fabric that is like stretchy and very difficult to read and very hard to stick onto any material. And what you see in action here is the camera that's actually scanning the target and calculating the best way to measure this, and even following a non-straight path to actually make sure that it measures the exact center of each patch.
And this is actually a sample holder that I've never seen, and I know this instrument pretty well.
Yeah.
So this one, I can see what happens. You stretch it out, and then it's like a frame, right? Almost like a silkscreen frame.
Yeah, this is an electrostatic sample holder. We have two different types of electrostatic sample holders.
Okay.
We have this one, which is a lot of customers know really well.
Familiar with.
Exactly. So this is the standard one. The problem is if you're measuring non-polyester fabrics or polyester blends.
They don't stick.
Exactly. Canvas, wool, what is it called? Silk. Doesn't stick on an electrostatic sample holder. So this one is both the electrostatic function, and it has a frame that clamps it down and holds it down. So, which is, as you know, in color measurement instruments, most spectrophotometers can read fabric. The only problem is that when the fabric moves or it's stretching, or you can't do it in a fixed position, your measurements are going to be off every time.
Correct.
And that is what makes Barbary truly special. Barbary is a brand that specializes in the large format printing industry on anything that's difficult, from like very thick materials to backlids to transparents to fabrics to very structured materials to very shiny materials, neon inks, stuff like that. And all these crazy applications we see at this industry. There's basically nothing you cannot measure with a Barbary, and that is what they're really good at.
Well, that's why I call it my favorite instrument. You actually hit on one of the other things I love it for, which is backlit. And backlit textile in particular can be a really challenging one. And so you're right, it handles all of that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what's new with Color Base.
Yeah, Color Base is a global company. We are based out of the Netherlands. We have an office in Salt Lake City for 11 years already. So we are. Most people in the industry know us under the name Color Concepts. That is like our old name. That's how the business started. I started it 21 years ago as a consultant. Traveled all over the world, trained tons of people, did workflow consultancy, color management consultancy, and that evolved into a digital platform as it is today. So we are hosting more than 1.3 million profiles. We have 150 million data points around print materials, their performance on different inks, materials, and printers. And our customers are basically all the manufacturers in this industry. We have around 250 material manufacturers as a customer, and all large printer brands. And we're like yeah, like the neutral, the Switzerland of this industry, where all these manufacturers bring stuff together and we make it work and turn it all into structured data. So we work with Barbary in the United States. We are their exclusive distributor. We import it from Italy and sell it through a reseller network, and also in special cases direct to like really large project where we work closely together with integrators. And we do that because we see this device and what it does is like a sensor that feeds the data we host in Colorbase, and that is and data is what the world revolves around at the moment. You know, you see that more and more.
So full disclosure, ColorCast is a reseller of Barbary through Marco, and we love this instrument. We actually have a pending sale on one we were just here to talk about. So if you're interested in the Barbary equipment, you can reach out to us about that. And I want to thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks, Jim. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
All right, so we touched on proofing a little bit, but we're gonna go back to it. Does your proof match your printed sheet? DJ hates when I say that. To ensure measurable and consistent success, you must establish proper profiles for your proofing device. Make sure your proofs incorporate paperwhite simulation. Use different profiles for different substrates. Make sure every proof has an ISO verification target. So guys, tell me what that's all about.
So part of G7 process is you go in and you validate the proofing environment. And I love that you asked the question, is the proof matching the press, or is the press matching the proof? And I will tell you that part of the entire reason for the Graphil Committee to exist is that the answer is yes to both questions. What we basically did is we created a characterized reference print condition, which is Graphil. And Graphil represents commercial sheet-fed printing anywhere in the world, because we have fairly standardized inks now, and every press, if they run to those standard densities and the press is in good condition, is going to produce a similar colored gamut. So my job as a G7 expert when I create a proof is to hit the Graphil color space or something bigger than that, because if I can hit that or something bigger than that, I can simulate what the press is doing. But the reality is I'm actually matching the press, because Graphil is a representation of all of those presses. And so as long as your press can print to Graphil, I can make a Graphil proof using the G7 method, and I've got a proof that is going to be consistent, predictable, and repeatable that comes out to you. And again, it's just like what they're doing in the press room. We put a control wedge on every proof. It's part of the G7 process, and that you can either manually measure that, or if you have like an Epson proofer with the built-in spectrophotometer, it will measure it and verify it for you. And then you've got all that data you've collected. Same thing they're doing in the press room. We can look at the trend line data and see if that proofer is beginning to drift, because even an inkjet proofer will drift. And so we've got the same obligations that they have in the press room to keep that device producing consistent, predictable, and repeatable color. Because again, a failure of a proof in and of itself is not a big event. It's relatively inexpensive. But a failed proof getting to the press room can become an unbelievably expensive event.
And when you go into a print shop, and all you guys have been in this scenario, how many print shops have their press stable?
None.
Are you sure?
In my experience. Now, there's some that are closer than others, but you made a couple points, and so did both of you did, and that is that there's a tremendous amount to document, and you know, as a G7 expert and a G7 expert trainer, the thing we talk about before you do any G7 calibration is you have to stabilize the system. And there's 6 variables listed here, and within these 6 variables, there's sub-variables. And Bruce and I were talking before, there's probably 1,000 variables on an offset press. And so when Bruce and I met 30 years ago, 35 years ago, whenever it was, the reason we met is that I had developed software for collecting densitometric and dot gain data from press sheets. And I had done that because right out of RIT, I was asked to help start up a great big web press. And I can tell you that, you know, we did all the things they're talking about. We checked, you know, bearer pressures. We made sure we had new blankets. We basically we evaluated our plates. It was before plate readers, but we still evaluated them visually. And then we'd run, and then we'd have to take the sheets offline and we would measure them by hand with an X-Rite densitometer that I had to write custom software to collect the data into a spreadsheet. And man, I wish we'd have had this product, because it would have made the startup of that piece of equipment so much faster. So, but the key is that all the variables that have to be managed have to be managed. I mean, it sounds like you guys have databases and special tools to do all of that. And the reason I probably haven't seen a press that was stable, because I haven't worked with a company that cares about it that much. I mean, it's usually they're bringing you in because there's a problem. Well, as you can see, we are wrapping up from our respective homes. We had such a busy show that we did not do this closing, which we would normally do from the show floor. So here we are. Any last thoughts about the show, Shelby?
I think probably part of the reason we didn't do that is because we were there on Wednesday and Thursday. So Thursday was our last day of the show. And that evening, we went to the Academy get-together where our good friend Travis Barcelona of NASDAR was inducted into the Academy. And we didn't do any video of that just because it was an event that probably we shouldn't. But there was a bunch of new technology. I know we showed some of it in this podcast. It was really great to run into a lot of people. I felt like we had 2 presentations that were very well attended with a lot of questions. That need for education is still out there, which is great to see. What was your impression?
Well, I want to backtrack and talk about the Academy event. So it's the Academy of Screen and Digital Printing Technology. I had to look at my plaque and make sure I got it right. We refer to the Academy for short, and it's really an association or a society that you get inducted into. So our friend Travis getting inducted was pretty cool. There were 2 additional people whose names escape me at the moment, but also some friends. Brian Adam got recognized for an article that he produced. We have a Stromstead Award, which is for writing in the industry, education. And also in that same category, our friend Ray Weiss was acknowledged. So it was really kind of a special evening with so many people we know standing up at the podium and accepting awards. So I really enjoyed that. As far as the education piece, yeah, you mentioned 2 well-attended sessions. I was thinking about it. And if we include the panel that I was part of, I mean, we're approaching probably close to 150 people between those 3 events that came out to hear us speak, which always kind of blows me away. So thank you to those of you who showed up. We really do appreciate it. And yeah, the thirst for education seems to remain just as strong as it was at the ISA show. What was that, about a year and a half ago, right after things opened up after the pandemic? We did that speaking event also in Atlanta, and we jammed a room that they had me speaking in. Now there were only 50 or 55 people, but the room they had me in, that was it. The way they had it set up, you could not put another person in that room without violating fire code. So this thirst for education continues to be there at trade shows in specific. I mean, I still feel like people aren't too willing to travel for training, but I think they're willing to travel for a trade show that has training. So that's an interesting observation, something that's changed in our industry over the last 3-4 years.
Yep. And speaking of trade shows, what's up next, Jim?
Well, we just finished making in our dye sublimation lab here our We Know Color shirts with our logo on them. So Shelby and I will have these on at SEMA next week in Las Vegas. So if you see 2 people wearing these crazy white sweatshirt things, you'll be on our backs. If you see that, stop us, say hello. We're always happy to talk to people from the podcast.
All right.
Hopefully we'll see you next week at SEMA. Otherwise, we'll see you when we do our next podcast, which, hey, guess what the topic's going to be?
Probably SEMA.
You bet. Thanks for watching.